Hey, BookTube, welcome back. Listen, we have to talk about a series that basically took over my 2024 and became my utter obsession. Book 5 is coming out, and I can barely contain my excitement. And that series is The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. If you've never heard about it, listen up. I found out about this series while I was book hunting at Target. I thought the cover was really pretty. I read the synopsis on the back and I was sold. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. So, The Bone Season follows our main character, Paige Mahoney, who's a clairvoyant in the year 2059 in Scion, London. And her being a clairvoyant is a no no. So, her and clairvoyants like her, they have to stay underground. They have to stay off the radar. So in this underground syndicate of clairvoyants, there are different cohorts, and all the leaders of each cohort are called mime lords or underlords or underqueens. So Jackson Hall is a mime lord for Paige's cohort. More than that, Paige is a militia for Jackson, who is the person expected to be next in line after their mime lord. The book comes with a glossary that breaks down the different ranks and the different orders of clairvoyance. Paige Mahoney is a very rare type of clairvoyant. She's a dream walker, which is almost like an oracle, but not quite. Paige has the ability to walk into other people's dreamscapes, which is a person's conscience. There are very few like her, and this presents as a problem as the series continues. So in book 1, Paige goes to visit her father, who is not a clairvoyant. They have this sort of estranged relationship. There's a lot of history there that the book breaks down that plays into her character pretty well. But anyway, while she's visiting her dad, Paige manages to get herself captured and being taken to this camp where other clairvoyants are being held that's being run by these giants called the Rephaim. Yeah. Are you still with me? I hope you're with me. In this place, clairvoyants essentially are being mined by these giants and absorbed and used for their power. The magic system isn't unique per se, but it is still done in a very unique way. But anyway, so all these clairvoyants are brought in and then they're split up amongst these Rephaim. So essentially, she's joining another cohort here. You see what I'm saying? These lords have no interest on making the clairvoyants equals. They have their own agenda. As we understand it in book 1, the Rephaim are not able to return to their world because of another spiritual being called the Amim. And they're essentially using the clairvoyants to sustain them while they're in this world as they work to get back to their world. Or whatever. So our main character gets hitched to the Warden. The Warden. The Warden. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Anyway, so the Warden is a Rephaim. I think I need. Hold on. Calm down, man. Calm down, girl. The Warden has his own mission that just so happens to align with Paige's mission, and these two become allies of convenience. And I'm going to leave it there. Listen, trying to put the synopsis in its simplest form is not easy because the way that the story progresses as the series continues, the plot thickens. I'm doing my best. I like to talk about characters even if the story is not a character driven story because when an author ruins the character arc, it ruins the story, right? The characters in the Bone Season are created very well. They very much match their character arc, sometimes too well. The Warden! This author did a really good job of helping you understand why Paige Mahoney is so loyal to other clairvoyants and the people of her syndicate, and you see why it has her so conflicted. The same goes for the Warden. There are times with book 1 that you're curious about his reservations, but as his story continues and the way that everything falls into place, you're like, oh, I see. And the way that these two personalities bounce off of each other. Paige Mahoney is a very complex character. She's stubborn and a bit of a brute, but also kind of sensitive, really has a big heart. And she's one of those characters that will go to bat for those that she cares about, right? Like she will fight for those she cares about. The Warden's character is very steady, also very stubborn. His temperament is very different from Paige's. So when these two rams are butting heads, it's very entertaining to see how one character affects the other. So as this allyship is growing and being cultivated, you as the reader, you get very invested. When I say I was like at the edge of my seat, biting on my fingernails with these two characters, top tier. Okay, this is a high fantasy series. This is not a series that you can approach as a romantasy. Is there romance? Yes, but it's light. It's a subplot. This story really builds. There's a lot of characters that are involved in the progression of the story, and the story is written in first person, which I found to be quite impressive because you're able to understand everyone's place, how they feel, how they fit, and you're not in their perspective. You're in Paige's perspective the entire time. A high fantasy done in first person impresses me every time. I'm attempting it myself, and I can tell you it is not easy. Samantha Shannon does an amazing job of highlighting every character. Like, you understand the Warden outside of Paige, you understand Jackson Hall outside of Paige. You understand all these characters as they relate to our main character, but you also understand them in their own respect. But the entire time, it's through the perspective of one character. It's very weird, done very well. This book takes place in the future, not too far in the future, 2059, but nonetheless, we're in the future. But the author used the language of a yesteryear, a long ago used language. There is a glossary in the back, so you are able to keep up with the language and the different terms. But the origin to these words are kind of placed throughout the story. And it's not done in a way that makes the read tedious. Like, it's actually kind of cool and interesting, in my opinion. And this language and these words kind of add to the atmosphere that I believe Samantha Shannon was trying to create. There's also real history that is tied into the story. The main character, Paige Mahoney, is Irish, and there are real events of Irish history that are added into this book. We're at 4 books and 1 novella. The story starts in London, but as the story continues throughout the series, locations change, and real history that is tied to these locations is also added into the story. I thought that was a really great detail. Some of you may know Samantha Shannon as the author of The Pride of the Orange Tree, which is this thickums right here. I believe that The Bone Season was the first book that Samantha Shannon ever wrote, just to make us all feel inferior. I believe this is also supposed to be a 7-part series, and these books are kind of thick. I don't know, Samantha Shannon just loves to give you like a thick book. It doesn't feel like it though. I breezed through these. I really should have taken my time. I read the novella The Dawn Chorus. You can only get it as an ebook. It's only about 100 pages. It's a very quick read. It's not necessary to the series, as in you can skip it and the books will still make sense to you. But I believe it's one of 2, and it's the only one, in my opinion, that you should really spend your time on. I didn't read the other one, but I don't think it's necessary. Anyway, I had to do this video because book 5 is scheduled to come out on the 25th of this month. You can bet that I'm going to be there at the crack of dawn to get this book. I did not pre-order it, mostly because I live in a smallish town and I feel like I've never had an issue getting a book. Am I freaking out just a little bit about that? Well, kind of. In the books that follow, and yes, even book 5, I really hope we do see more romance between our characters. Am I starved? A little. Yeah. God, I would love to see Samantha Shannon's story Bible when it comes to this series because everything is so thought out. There were a few times where I was kind of expecting the plot to have a hole, but she filled it every time. She filled it every time. The original series came out 2013, I believe. I don't know how the OG readers aren't scratching at the walls. I tried to get an arc for the series, but I'm not there yet. Maybe book 6. Samantha, please don't take another 10 years to give us the rest of the series. Please. This is a god tier fantasy series for me. Okay? Anyway, I cannot wait for the 25th. If you have not already started the series, I highly recommend that you do. I would love to see the book space buzz about this book again, mostly because now I can join the conversation. If you like a high fantasy where the romance is a subplot, this book is definitely for you. If you like a slow burn romance, this book is definitely for you. Anyway, as always, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.